Hi everyone, Lisa Haven here, and I've got a major red alert, and that's this. The USMCA, also known as the United States, Mexico, and Canada Agreement, is making some massive headway. This piece of legislation I need to bring to your attention and to your utmost attention because Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats and the Republicans are about to vote on this sometime in the near future. Pelosi has yet to officially schedule a date, and who knows, she may throw that out there by the time I've made this video. So we need to alert all our congressmen and women not to do this, because what this legislation does is basically steal sovereignty out from under our feet. Let me put it more simply. It establishes an international governing commission similar to that of the European Union. We're talking about merging our economy, our economic system. Yes, that's what this is going to do, and I'm going to prove it in a moment. Not only that, but merging some of our natural resources, some of our energy and energy usefulness, and not to mention lots of other things. I've got so much to tell you, but this is absolutely critical because here's the thing. We won and fought the War of Independence in order to keep ourselves out of this freaking bureaucracy that they keep putting us under. That's what the War of Independence was about. Sovereignty here in the United States of America. This takes it away from us and puts it in control and outside of the hands of the American. If this thing goes fully through, like I believe it will, then guess what? Congress doesn't even have a vote or say on some of the things that are involved. Anything really involved with the USMCA agreement. But let me dive into it and show you the actual tangible documents. And John Birch, the John Birch Society, has been warning about this for a while. So let's dive in. Real quick, just want to give a quick shout out to my partner at TrumpCoin2020.com. Right now, you guys can get this amazing gold President Trump Gold Freedom Coin. This thing is awesome. And if you use the code Lisa Haven Gold with spaces in the middle, you'll get $100 off. But these are great things to have on hand, especially with all the things that we have happening all around us. So check it out at TrumpCoin2020.com. All right, so let's dive in. First, I want to hone in on this article on the newamerican.com. Now, this was published this month, but it really kind of dives into what is the USMCA. And it states, the United States-Mexico Agreement is intended to replace the 1994 North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA. The New American has previously covered that. There are many problems with the USMCA that outweigh any potential economic benefits, mainly how it can erode America's national sovereignty in favor of regional integration. And he's literally talking about the building of an international New World Order. This is a massive step into the grounds of New World Order and sovereignty stealing from the United States of America. But he gets into some of what the Democrats are doing and how they're planning and all of that information. But let's go down to this section, which I want to show you, because the truth is, since Nancy hasn't really set the date or they've started a vote, and like I said, they could have started by the time I publish this video, the Democratic lawmakers don't see any problem with the USMCA. Well, that's why I want to ask you to start contacting your congressman today and letting them know what this really does. But let's get into some of the stuff it does. Economic integration. The USMCA promotes the economic integration of North America. The USMCA's competitive chapter, this is chapter 26, which I'm going to have all linked below, establishes the creation of a North American Competitive Committee. This is a committee, right? According to this, the NCAA is tasked with making sure that it promotes economic integration and development within the free trade area to further enhance the competitive of the North American economy. In other words, it seeks to merge the economies of North America into one. This is akin to the North America Union, much like the European Union, which we know all the chaos that caused with Greece and Brexit and everything going on over there. And right now, we're talking about getting some kind of merger of our economy. Now, that could take a whole lot of forms, but merging the dollar or merging something of that nature, creating something new, or it could go in a whole nother different direction, but they're wanting EU style. And again, this brings major alarm bells because under this authority, Congress is stripped of their power and it's given over, not of the power over I should say, the power over certain things in regards to this union, so to speak, between Mexico, Canada, and America. It's given to an outside body that you and I don't have a vote over what is said or done. But that's not all it does. Scrolling down, it gives more focus on the environment. Here's what it says. The USMCA also promotes the United Nations concept of sustainable development, which is the cornerstone of UN Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030 program to address purported problem of climate change. Agenda 2030 calls, this is a key point, for the redistribution of wealth from richer nations to underdeveloped countries in the global south, right? It also advocates for numerous control over people's lives and daily actions and imposes erroneous regulations that would prevent developing nations from industrializing and turning into stagnations into their economy. See, if it's pushing this kind of environmentalism, it's basically going to do everything it can to stagnate our economy and spread our wealth around, because this is all what the United Nations is about, taking wealth from America and giving it to other countries. Simply to undo and bust our economy so we are more susceptible and more reliant on the global order. That is the main purpose. But it goes on to reference the actual article, and it says the objective of the charter are to promote mutually supportive trade and environmental policies and practices, promote high levels of environmental protection and effective enforcement of environmental laws, and enhance the capacity of the parties to address trade-related environmental issues, including through cooperation and the furtherment of sustainable development. Basically, it is essentially calling for control over water, land, organism across the three countries. It would gain control over all three via layered levels of government, all of which would strip the U.S. of control in these areas and give the control to a regional government entity. This is the key part of it. It's like the war of, like I said in the beginning, like the War of Independence meant nothing. I mean, our founding fathers and our ancestors fought so hard to give us this sovereignty. And here we are on a silver platter, handing it away to a regional government entity. Now, I have told you, well, before I get into that, there's also one more area, and this is the energy. I almost missed this one, but here's what it says. The parties recognize the importance of enhancing the integration of North American energy markets based on market principles, including open trade and investment among the parties, to support the North American energy competitiveness, security, and independence. The parties shall endeavor to promote North American energy cooperation, including with respect to energy security and efficiency standards. Okay, in a nutshell, basically, this type of energy integration would lead to the creation of a new regional regulatory energy body or authority, akin or kind of like the North American Department of Ministry of Energy, which would supersede the U.S. Department of Energy, Canada's Department of Natural Resources, and Mexico's Department of Energy. In other words, we're going to scrap all of our Department of Energies and put it underneath this one new regional regulation body. This is a nightmare in waiting. So basically, we're giving up our sovereignty in three separate ways. We're giving up our sovereignty first and foremost on the economic front. We're giving our sovereignty on the environmental front, and we're giving up our sovereignty on the energy front. They're literally creating a dictating body, a regional regulatory energy body, or a regional regulatory economic body, regional, kind of environmental body. This is akin to the European Union here in the US. This is the New World Order coming to life right before our eyes. Now, I want to take you over to the John Birch Society, because they're the ones that kind of brought a lot of this to light, and I've been following it. And some of you have sent stuff to me. I know one of you, Michael, thank you. You reminded me about it, very much so. But it again gets into some of the reasons why, and they specifically state that it's part of a New World Order buildup. And I think this is a critical part. The USMCA is part of a starting but purposeful strategy used by the global elite to integrate individual nations into regional unions with overarching, unaccountable bureaucracy. These regional unions help to create a new world order that is being organized under the UN. And I've warned about this. The UN Commission on Global Government wrote in 1995, regional cooperation and integration should be seen as an important and integral part of a balanced system of global government. And it talks about all the existing unions that already exist. This is terrifying what they actually have to offer. But here's another one. Now, this is also on the John Birch Society, but I want to show you this because on this page, it actually hyperlinks. So you can open this in a new link and it'll actually bring up that section and chapter so you can read it verse by verse, piece by piece, and read it for yourself. I've read through a majority of this and it is exactly what they say. But they ask the question that everybody's been pointing out. Is it true that the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement contains worker protection for migrant workers? It does. And LGBTQ gender-related issues, it does. This means that this is a protected class now in the US. I don't know about you. I don't believe in putting one class over another. I think we're all a protected class and we're all even, but that's not what USMCA does. USMCA actually puts work protections in place for migrants and LGBTQ related issues. Things are, I don't know. Where's the equality for everyone? But it goes on. It promotes Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, which I showed you, concept of sustainable development, and creates an international governing commission, which I showed you, subordinates U.S. sovereignty to international law and world bodies, such as the Law of the Sea Treaty and World Trade Organization. Don't believe any of this? Here's the links, the chapters, and all of it in which you can read each piece. Now, this is over a 2,000 piece legislation, but each and every single one of these are linked directly so you can read it and see it for yourself. And if you want more information, of course, guess what? It's on, the United States Office of the President, which he gives you a little bit of a background, not enough, obviously. And then here, it also has more information on USMCA. You can go and look there, but you're going to want to focus on this one here because it's actually linked to the chapter and verses so you can read some of that. And then you can see here's the actual agreement and it's all hyperlinked. So the documents are included here as well if you want them. So there you have it. You know, sometimes information is just so in our face and so way out there that it's really hard to believe. But I'm showing you the actual documentation for it. I'm hyperlinking and linking the stories to you so you can look at it and read it for yourself. This is, again, one of the biggest sovereignty stealers of our time, and it is about to likely pass through Congress unless we step in and act as American citizens and contact our congressmen and women and tell them, do not put this legislation through. This allows and gives, I think sometimes we need to educate Congress because they haven't read all 2,000 pages, but this literally gives the authority, parts, not all authority, obviously, it gives certain authority away from Congress to this body, shadow style government that we have no say in who they are or how they got there or what they do. They start enforcing things between the three countries. Isn't that something that they warned about in the Bible specifically, how we'd have this global order, global bodies, all in the name of peace and security and trade? You say there is not going to be peace until Jesus Christ comes back on the earth. It's just a fact. So in the meantime, we need to pay close attention to what's happening and close attention to politics because if we don't, we're going to lose every ounce of freedom that we have. And the Democrats are already making massive headway on this, all while going through impeachment and everything under the sun. It's just crazy. Anyhow, I'd love to get your thoughts, comments, and concerns on this. Thanks again for tuning in. And please don't forget to check out restrictedrepublic.com if you really want to know what's happening in the world. I'm going to ask you, go there, sign up now because there's only so much I'm allowed here to stay, but there's all kinds of additional videos on restrictedrepublic.com. So check it out. Use the code TRUTH for a discount. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.